Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Analytics and Data Techcast today. We have a great session today by Darchewski, which is the Director of Marketing Data Science at Oracle. Hi, Sho. Welcome to our Techcast. My name is Edelweiss Kammerman. I'm going to be your host. I'm Oracle's Director and part of the board of NWC. And I would like to, before getting into this great session, I want to talk a little bit about us, about analytics and data community. So, Joe, if you can move to the next slide, please. Great. So we have, as you probably know, many Techcasts during all these years. We have 2 per month. We already recorded all the sessions, so this session is going to be recorded. We're going to share the recording and the PDF in our website, and the recording also in YouTube channel. Our next sessions will be also for machine learning, and we will have a panel probably in December about the concept of lakehouse. So it's going to be a very interesting future Techcast. Okay, next slide, please. And we have merged. So if you are interested in collaborate with and also get some very cool merchandising, you can go to our site and you can have this magic cup and some tags and other very nice products in our site. One thing that is quite important for us, so if you go to the next slide, is the community. So all of us think that the way that we can grow is better if we grow together, and you can grow so much more collaborating with each other. So if you want to join us, we have a Slack channel that you can just ask your questions or share some comments or doubts or maybe tips that you have learned. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And we also have a newsletter that you can check it out. Okay. Next slide. And we have the next Techcast days, which is 3 days of totally free sessions of machine learning, spatial and graph, and analytics. It's going to be this February 15, 17. And save the date because we are going to have a very, very interesting agenda. So thank you so much. One important thing is all the questions that you have, please submit into the Q&A box. And Show is going to take care of the questions at the end of the session. Well, I will let you with Show, which is the Director of Marketing Data Science at Oracle. And he's a statistical analyst with more than 20 years of experience in data science, data analyst, and product manager. So take advantage of this session. Show, the audience is all yours.
Thanks. And I just put the safe harbor statement up here because I have to. So you guys should be familiar with that. I'm just going to move past that one. I just want to introduce my team. We've got 4 members across the world, really. Surya Prakash and Anurag are both in India, and Alex and Michelle are in the Bay Area. Myself, I'm based out of Denver. And the 5 of us primarily are doing all of the analytics that you're going to see here. And we're focusing today on our PI fit modeling. What I really wanted to emphasize here is we went through a transition where we were using OML, but we were using the Oracle R Enterprise and the connection through on-prem to our database. And over the summer, we had to transition to the autonomous database, so we went to cloud. And with that transition to cloud, because OML4R was not quite ready yet, we had to transition all of our scripting, which is our scripts, into OML for Python and OML for SQL. And so we just wanted to kind of show how that transition went and how it's working with our current modeling process. In general, we've been doing this for about 5 years and did this transition. So we took this collection of scripts, and as part of that transition, converted them all into OML notebooks. It took probably about 2 months for the transition, learning the new tool and converting all of our scripts over, which really isn't too bad, considering we had about 25 models at the time. And once we did the transition, we basically, within a month, were able to use the scripting that we transitioned to and create over 30 models, 30 that are in production. We had a few more models that just weren't quite ready. And so we built those, but put them on hold so that we can rebuild them within the next month. So our current process is set up that we build models about every 6 months or more often, depending on whether they need to be rebuilt. And we will rescore on a monthly basis. And so now we've gotten this process set up. New products get suggested to us, and we can add those product models within just a couple of weeks. It's actually very quick for us to transition. So just an overview of the team and all of the things that we do. The sales prospecting is the main thing that we do. That's our main focus, is getting these PI fit models put together. Again, as I said, it's over 30 products at this point, and we're adding products every month. That fit modeling primarily is using our Oracle install base customers, and we're trying to figure out what other products our customers might be interested in buying, so that we can present those targets to the sales teams and the marketing teams, and they can be targeted for the specific product that we had modeled. In addition, we do some event demand gen. When we do that, it's typically anomaly detection modeling. We do a lot of campaign performance analysis. We've started doing some attribution analysis. We look at our existing opportunities and try and figure out which ones are going to progress versus which ones are going to just stop, and additional cross-sell in terms of figuring out renewals and which customers are going to renew versus which ones might need some encouragement to renew. I wanted to give an overview of the process that we go through. It's a pretty standard modeling process. We have data sets that get created. Most of the data set creation is done. We're doing it all within the OML notebooks, but it's mostly done with the SQL chunks. And that's all based on our product definitions, what our internal customer data is, and allows us to get our account selection. Essentially, we're using all of the accounts that we have as existing customers for our raw data sets. And then we're looking for which customers have opportunities that were won or lost for the specific product that we're modeling, so that we can use that as our target variable. We develop our models, again, within the OML notebooks. Here, we're using a little bit more of the Python and the OML for Python code, where we're using feature selection. We determine, which model is going to perform best, whether it's a random forest, an SVM, naive Bayes, other modeling types. There is cross-fold validation built in, and we have a number of different feature selection scripting that we've built in as well. So some of it we're using the native OML for Python scripts, and some of it is things that we've built in terms of correlation validation, figuring out which variables have enough variance to be able to be predictive. All of that stuff we've added into the scripting. And then finally, we have our validations, which would be the standard validation tools that we use, your confusion matrix, your ROC curve. For us, we're mostly focused on precision, and our F-test helps us understand if we're truly modeling what we want to model. Now, as far as transitioning to, full Oracle machine learning from R, we've learned a lot, and have really found a number of valuable things. Being able to create OML notebooks where we can intersperse both SQL and PL SQL with the Python scripting has been extremely helpful, because we can do things that are database efficient or efficient with SQL with the PL SQL, and we can do the Python things that are more efficient with Python, and just go back and forth. So we found that extremely helpful. The other thing that we've found is the way the notebooks are designed and set up. We are allowed, we find much better team collaboration. In the past, we were using, GitHub, for example, for storing all of our scripts, which gave us a repository. But within the notebooks, we've learned that we can actually modify and script a notebook, build the code collaboratively, because we can all be on a Zoom session, have one notebook open, and all of us would be connected to that notebook and be able to modify the code together. Because I could modify some code, Surya might be able to pick up a few pieces and modify, all within the same script within the same session. I don't have to do a save and things like that. So that's been really interesting to work that way. I think that covers what I had on this slide. So to emphasize some of the benefits here, the reason we were working with ORE in the past, Oracle R Enterprise in the past, is because of the in-database algorithms, because we didn't have to pull data and export it to our systems and try running, for X number of customers, all of the data within a personal laptop. We are able to do all of our analysis in the database, and OML now on the cloud here allows us to do the same thing. So there's no pulling of CSV files, there's no uploading of data. We keep all of that within the database and just connect to it. The models themselves, once they're created, we store those in the database. That way all of us have access to those models for scoring purposes. They're stored as data stores, and we can pull up that model and score the model anytime we need to. The way we've designed our setup is we have shared templates here that we've set up, so that we have a template for each model type that we might possibly use. We bring in that template, we connect to the data for a specific product, and work through the template in order to build our model. And then we can save that template off as a specific notebook that is targeted for our specific product. And that way we've got a repository with history of what was done in modeling that product, so that when we go back and want to remodel that product, we can see what was done in the past and be able to, one, recreate it, but also possibly modify parameters, modify features in order to get a better performing model. So having all of this stuff saved together, one location where the whole team within the project is able to access, just really optimizes our workflow. So I just wanted to show, this is within a single notebook. We have our Python script, and then follow that up with a SQL script. You can follow it up with a PL SQL block using %script. So you can do all of that just simultaneously and be able to have basically a unified code. Sometimes you're going to have to go back to SQL for some things that you want to do in the database. Sometimes you will use the OML for Python scripting. And it's nice to be able to go back and forth and comment everything as you go through the code. It really makes our life easier. Because we have all of our data existing in the database, we do all of our modeling within the database, save the scores and to a table within the database. Then it's just extracted to our other tools. So, our sales tools, marketing tools, they all have access to these tables with our scores. And We have Oracle Analytics Cloud on top of that so that we can do some visualizations and allow our end users to see results basically on the cloud through just a URL link. So the whole thing end to end is connected together. We never have to export any data, which is extremely helpful. In terms of OML for Python, we have highlighted here some specific things that we use most often. We use a lot of this anyway, but in general, the things that are picked up by our team as regular, standard things are the support vector machine and random forest for classification modeling. I know xGBoost is supposed to be released with OML for Python. It's just a later release that our current database version is not compatible with, so we're waiting for that. That'll be a big add. For our anomaly detection, we use the support vector machines. We've done some clustering where we do initial clustering and then use clusters that have high numbers of wins to do our modeling, just in cases where our data is weird, very unbalanced data. We might have to do some initial clustering or do some clustering for other types of analyses. In particular, our renewal churn analysis, we've done some clustering with. And then we use our attribute importance for our feature selection, along with some other feature selection techniques. We'll go into some PCA and other values that we'll use for our feature selection. A lot of times we hold off on PCA because our end users are looking for which particular features are pushing a customer towards being a target. And so we need to have that clarity. So the PCA gets held off only if we need it. Again, our validation, we use our standard confusion matrix, but what's important for us is to really narrow in on win rates, because we're trying to predict targets for marketing and for sales. We need to know with our targets how often they're won opportunities, how often those convert into won opportunities. And so what we typically compare is the win rate from our targets to our baseline win rate. Now, our baseline win rate, we're being conservative in calculating the win rate of all opportunities for that particular product. So our targets get rolled into there. And that allows us to be really conservative in calculating how good our targets are performing, as opposed to isolating a separate group of these are customers that we didn't target at all and comparing against their win rates. Their win rates are significantly lower typically than our targets. So doing our calculation this way just allows us to be more conservative and better evaluate when it's time to renew a model. So our results, we typically will be looking at our lift, right? What is the percent improvement that we're seeing with our targets? And so we did an analysis back in the first half of fiscal year 21 to look at how our models were performing. And what we are seeing, some of these models here are performing with a 50%, 60% improvement over the baseline. On average, we're seeing a good, 20 to 30% improvement over the baseline, but 80 to 90% of our models are showing at a positive lift. At the bottom end, it's at like 15%. There's only one or two that show up where we're not getting a lift, we're basically flat, or we might see a little bit of a negative. Typically, when we see that, it's because we're trying to model products that are fairly new, and we're really only have a couple hundred opportunities to work with, where only 30 or 40 of those are wins because the product is that new. And so we're trying to see if we can find ways to build models for those new products, but it's quite challenging because of the sparsity of the data. And so typically we need to have on the order of 300 to 500 opportunities, where 20 or 30% of those are one opportunities in order to be building successful models. And I did post within the presentation some quick links here that I thought would be valuable to everybody. Autonomous Cloud is where our database currently sits, and so if you click that link, this allows you to get to a free trial for Autonomous Cloud. Then we have a machine learning notebooks overview, and within that notebooks overview, this gives you a kind of a summary of the notebooks and what you can do within the notebooks. The ones that we've found extremely helpful, those are high level, but these extremely helpful links are this next set of links here. We have the OML blog within Oracle. It looks like this link is stuck. I am frozen. Hold on one second. Just have to get to the slides again.
We see your main. Yep, we see you flying through right now, so you're doing good.
Okay, sorry about that. Something locked up there. Let's try this again. It just doesn't like me.
There you go.
I have the blog. I'll go here. So here's the blog. We work extensively with Mark Hornick when we have questions and things like that. But he's got some great stuff posted here, and other people on his team, Shara LaMonica, et cetera. So definitely a great place to go for resources. Let's see if my page is still working. The tutorial, here we are. This allows you to go through, walk through basically the machine learning notebooks, and gives you a general idea of how to work with the notebooks and the different options that you have in there. Now, where we've really found value is on this Oracle Machine Learning for Python tab. This is the OML4R link. This one has a collection of references down in here. And this first PDF, the API reference, which is also one of the links we posted here, this OML reference, that link in particular, we found extremely valuable. You can do the help within the OML notebooks, but to be able to go in here and pick out a specific command OMLDT and know exactly what the possible parameters are, I just find this document to be invaluable. It might just be the way that I work, but being able to pull up these things really quickly within a PDF document, I found much more efficient. So that's this one, this OML4R. So if you're going to OML4R, this is the one I really recommend. This one will give you some additional links, additional resources for learning. And then we have another reference. It looks like I did the same thing. I sure did. Nope. Okay. Sorry, I confused that. Let me go back. OML4R, that link gets you to this page where you have all the different Python documentation. The OML reference is the one that I was talking about, this one here, that we use extensively because it's a PDF doc with all of the methods and classes. So you can look at a specific command, you can look at all the parameters. That one we use on a regular basis if we're not sure how something works. Hopefully that clarifies that. And then finally, because we talked a little bit about Analytics Cloud, posted a link there so that you could see some examples on Analytics Cloud and the things that you could do within Analytics Cloud. And that's all I have. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I know I have a tendency to do that, but we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Sho. It was a very, very interesting session. We don't have any questions yet. So people, if you want to ask any questions to Sho, please submit your questions into our Q&A box and he will handle this. But it was great. And it was great also all the detail on the useful links. I truly appreciate that. I truly appreciate that. All the reference for Python.
Yeah,
So,
the Python reference we find extremely
yes.
valuable. We go back to that. Most of us were really comfortable working in R, and we had to make that transition. You know, you have the Python in your background, but if you're not using it every day,
yeah, it's completely different.
Right. And there are some differences to be aware. You know, there's minor differences in the command structure, things like that. You know, PyCharm might allow you to do a column name one way, but OML multiple ways in PyCharm, but OML will only take one way. So you do need to pay attention to little nuances like that.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for this. I think we're good. I will give another minute to people to ask any questions, but it was very, very clear. It was a very, very interesting content. You explain all the process quite clear, and the useful links will be very, very helpful for the team and for the people who attend and see our. We have many people who sometimes they cannot attend this session because a meeting or something like that. You know, the work sometimes conflict into the interest that we have to learn, and people get the possibility to see it later in our YouTube channel.
Perfect.
So perfect. Thank you so much, Sho, for this. Okay, we have one in the chat. Okay. Karen Kramer says, do you have another OML tutorial page available? The link above says page not found.
Uh-oh. Did the link not work correctly? Do you want me to post it in the chat?
Yeah.
We'll try it again.
Okay. I'm trying to.
I posted it in the chat too.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll work.
Yes, it works. It works.
Cool.
So yeah, thank you so much. That is works. Perfect. Any other questions? So we have another question. Have you used the AutoML features? Do this increase accuracy?
We have not experimented with AutoML yet. We needed to make sure that we were able to rebuild all of our models in OML, so we've kind of focused on that first. That's one of our additional things that we want to start looking at. But no, we have not yet.
Perfect, thanks. Any other question, guys? We have time. We still have time. Okay, then. Okay, Sho, thank you so much for this. It was very, very, very useful. And okay, we have another one. Okay. Okay, give me one sec. Okay, it was a mistake. Wrong link. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
No problem at all. Okay, so thank you so much, Sho. I hope that we will have the pleasure to have you again in future TechCast. And thank you.
Next time around, we'll try and share more code. This time, we just wanted to do the overview of the transition.
Perfect. We will love a go deep detailed session next time. It will be amazing.
Cool.
Thank you so much. And so Karen says the link in chat still doesn't work. It works, Karen. I just click it and it works perfectly fine. So that is the right link. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending our TechCast, and keep tuned and join us in our Slack channel to get more information and more content also for you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thanks.